Are you going to write a sitcom script now? Really? Is that a good idea? That's what we're going to think about in the Situation Room. My name's James Carey. I've been writing scripts and sitcom scripts for the BBC for the last 20 odd years. And I'm all about helping you write better sitcom scripts. And the question is, are we even going to keep bothering doing this? Because there are lots of reasons not to do it. And the reason I've started this video here, outside the front of my house, is because I want to show you something. Have a look down there and you will see a bed, which is where one grows tomatoes. Am I going to grow tomatoes this year? Well, that's probably the kind of question that you might be asking about whether you're going to do a script. Why would I grow tomatoes? Because it's fun, because I like doing it. I like the satisfaction of having grown my own tomatoes. You can buy tomatoes. They're actually quite cheap in the shops. Some people say they're not as nice. Well, you can also buy nice ones in the shop as well. So the question about whether you write a script is more like a question about whether you want to grow your own tomatoes, as opposed to an agricultural question, which is whether you mow your field or not. Have a look at this field here. It has literally just been mowed. There it is, within an inch of its life. It's just all been gathered in, and that's going to become silage to feed the cows. Now, the reason they need to do that, that's a professional decision. It's an economic decision. They've got free food lying in the field, gather it in, and they can sell that either away, or they can feed it to their own cows over the winter, and they'll give them milk all year round. You see, I'm also scarifying my lawn. That's a decision because I want my lawn to look nice. That's a horticultural decision, not an agricultural one. So the reason that I'm using this analogy is the professional decision to write sitcoms, and that the economics of all that is a separate thing to whether you want to write a sitcom. And if you just come into my office here, which is where we are now, we're going to have a bit of a think about it, because I've given some thought to a little list of 5 reasons why you should probably write a sitcom, and I've got a cup of tea, and we're just going to go through them and have a bit of a chat. I hope you find that interesting. Here we go. 5 reasons why you might as well write a sitcom script. And the first reason I've already covered is you don't need to justify it. You don't need to justify writing a sitcom script. If you want to write one, then write one. It actually would be quite fun. So why not do that? There could be a number of reasons for doing that. One is you just really like sitcoms and you're a fan, and this is basically fan fiction. People really enjoy writing fan fiction. Why not? I'd love to write a Narnia book, because I just love Narnia and the Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. You're sort of not allowed to do that. So I could do it for myself and not show anyone. And maybe I will. I have actually thought about what would an 8th book actually look like, because it's fun. Maybe you want to understand how sitcoms work, and actually the way to understand it is to write one and have a go at sort of putting one together for yourself. Again, why not? It's like putting together one of those Airfix models of an aeroplane or a tank or something like that. Spend ages painting it because you like doing it and you want to understand, and you love the war and you want to know more about how it was fought. And that's kind of one way of doing it. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to justify it. It can just be a hobby. It's actually more fun to write television than watch it half the time. There's an awful lot of TV out there. But, why not just decide to actually make some television rather than watch some television, or at least write some television? Because in a way, we're coming on to our second point here. Things are pretty hard at the moment for half-hour comedies. There aren't really many new ones out at the moment. But here's the thing why it's not a waste of time. Reason number 2, commissioners will change their priorities. It can't really go on like this, because people fundamentally like half-hour comedy. They like watching television and they like laughing. I always say that, and that's why I think you're not wasting your time if you want to write a situation comedy. And so, the fact that they don't keep making them feels completely baffling to me, and stupid is not a plan. It eventually runs out of other people's money, and so eventually they'll come back to making half-hour comedies because people really like them. Not only that, they don't just watch them, they watch them again and again and again and again. People aren't really going back to those other classic TV series in quite the same way. Once you've seen Game of Thrones, do you want to watch it again? I mean, I really liked it. I don't want to watch it again. There's loads of other kind of police procedurals that you watch, but you don't really watch them again. how many times have I watched episodes of my favourite sitcoms, and not even my favourite sitcoms, just sitcoms. And then you show them to your kids, because my kids are now the age where I can actually watch sitcoms with them, and I'm now watching Arrested Development with my oldest daughter. It was made 20 years ago, and I'm still watching it. Seinfeld, I'm showing her that, and I'm still enjoying it. Blackadder, and I've seen each of those episodes 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 times. Comedy is such a good long-term investment. It is incredible to me. Sound like William Brown from the Just William stories. It's extraordinary to me that people don't invest in sitcoms. I think they will. And also the data shows that they're still watching them. So on streaming, those old half-hour sitcoms are still getting tons and tons and tons and tons of views. So Friends is still getting tons and tons and tons and tons of views. My daughter's friends have all been watching Miranda, and they've watched it again and again and again, and they've sort of memorized it. My own kids haven't actually seen it, but it just keeps coming back, and people like it. So I don't know why why commissioners don't commission more half-hour comedy. Doesn't really make any sense to me. Also, you can keep using the same set again and again and again and again. And my theory is essentially that murder mysteries are situation comedies, and that's kind of the new version of it. Because it's basically the same episode every time. It's the same characters, slightly different problems, same kind of shape and resolution. That's basically a situation comedy. So I watched Castle, which was on ABC at one point. It's now on Disney+. I loved it. It's basically a sitcom, will they, won't they relationship between two funny leads. That was great. I would even consider watching it all over again. That's how good it was, but also that's how starved I am for other stuff. But now we're getting other sneaky shows that are sitcom adjacent but aren't technically sitcoms, and I would argue that Only Murders in the Building is basically a sitcom. It's about half an hour long, it's quite funny, and it really is rooted in that building. That is the building where everything seems to happen. I've watched the first 2 seasons now, and it really does have a strong sense of place, both in the building and New York and that community, which is slowly being kind of built out with other characters. I mean, it's kind of a sitcom, really, isn't it? Commissioners will eventually wake up and smell the coffee. They will pick up the sound of the mood music. There will be more half-hour comedies. And so getting good at half-hour comedies and writing them and getting experienced at them is not a bad idea to do right now while things are still a bit quiet. So that's my third reason, really. If you want to do sitcom properly for more than just a hobby, now is the time to invest in writing sitcoms so that you're ready when the change happens. And it's not just a question of so that you're ready with your sitcom, because, when people say, right, okay, we're making half-hour comedy, and you come with your sitcom script in your hot little hand. So I always love that expression. And that's great to have an idea and maybe have a couple of other ideas as well. But the fact is you're more likely to end up working on somebody else's sitcom. So you need a spec script to show what you can do with half an hour, that you've got the chops to actually get through the door, make it into a writer's room, and be able to contribute plots and stories and jokes and ideas and character notes and all those sorts of things. So the more experience you've got of that, even just like on your own, or just watching videos like this and having a sample and maybe doing 1 or 2 of my courses and all that kind of stuff, the more you've got of that, the more experience you've got of that, the more confident you'll be, and it will shine through. So that you won't be a rabbit in the headlights when eventually, possibly, an opportunity does come along. You're actually ready for it, rather than just suddenly you're on the starter's blocks and everyone else has already jumped ahead of you. So invest now and invest the time, because that's what it takes. It takes time to get good. It gets time to get fluent at comedy. You can't just crack it. You can't just suddenly find a formula, crank it out and do it. You have to get used to the ideas. You have to get used to the way in which plots kind of ebb and flow, how characters are put together. Putting a sitcom together is really, really tricky. You're just sort of fitting all these things in together. There is kind of a formula, but there kind of isn't, because if there were, I'd know it and I'd be wildly successful, and I probably wouldn't tell you. You just want the experience that you need that just comes with plotting and rhythms and jokes and how do we fix this and all that kind of stuff. Do that now. Do that now whilst there's not an awful lot at stake, and you can get better at it. So that's the third reason. Invest now so that you're ready for when it all changes. Fourth reason, when it does change, you're going to need a calling card, and a sitcom script, even now, will actually stand out. You want to be sending out, I think, a sitcom script, particularly if you're passionate about sitcom, if you've got a funny idea, funny characters, funny jokes, and you do it well. People are actually looking for comedy writers, even to write on comedy dramas or dramas. I got hired to write on Shakespeare and Hathaway because I was a comedy writer. Shakespeare and Hathaway, a daytime murder mystery show, which is quite funny. It is quite sitcom-like. And I got through the door because of my comedy writing experience. So they do kind of want that. Sorry, do excuse me. I'm an Englishman. I've got to drink tea, haven't I? Hang on. That is Assam tea, and it is delicious. If you send out a script, send out a half-hour sitcom script, and they'll say, oh, we're not really looking for these at the moment. I know, but they're not going to make your hour-long comedy drama anyway, so you might as well stand out. And if you can send them a script that makes them laugh, they're going to remember you, because a lot of scripts aren't very good, and it is very easy to get rid of a lot of mistakes to make your script better. And there's lots of stuff on my blog called The Situation Room. There's a link below to find out more about that. Loads of information there, completely free for you to look at as well. Plus a few other bits and pieces if you want to get hold of them. But if you send them a half-hour script, they're more likely to read it because it's quicker to read. They're more likely to read it because it might be funny. And if it is funny, well, your quid's in. You might even get a meeting out of it. And the meeting will probably be, well, we're not really making comedy, but what else have you got? It's good to stay in touch. And then commissioners say, we want half-hour comedies. And they go, oh, I did actually read that script about growing tomatoes. And it was kind of slightly deranged. It didn't really work. I don't think it will work. But I wonder what else they've got. And before you know it, you've got another meeting where actually there's more on the table. There's more at stake. So why not write a script now? Get it as good as you can get it and send it out, even though you know they're probably not going to make it and that the economics are not really working at the moment. And I've done videos and lots of other blogs about why the economics just doesn't really stack up at the moment. That's not your problem right now. That's not your fight. The commissioners and controllers and the money people, they're going to have to figure this one out. We're just at the bottom and we just need to write half-hour comedies because when it comes down to it, they need scripts. They need funny ideas to make and they need people to write the successful ideas because if a show goes well, there's 100 episodes. That can't be written by one person. It can't even be written by 3 or 4 people. That's going to need to be written by 10, 12, 14, 15 people. And you could be one of them. But how would you get to be one of them? By having a decent script now. In fact, the way to get a decent script now is to do a not very good script right now, and then your next script will be better, and your third script will actually be quite good. So you might as well start now, make your mistakes while there isn't very much at stake. Make your mistakes while there's not much at stake. Oh, okay, I can't really be bothered to turn that into a ditty or a thing, but there it is. And then here's the last one, which is a bit of a left field one, but maybe not, because the quality of stuff I'm watching on Instagram Reels right now is actually pretty high. People are making their own stuff. And it's never been easier to make your own stuff. Now, little sketches that last 90 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, they're already quite easy to make. And also AI is getting really good, and that could maybe fill in some of the gaps. And it may be that after, it won't take you long to make something that's 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And actually you could shoot something very easily. Now, in order to shoot something that sustains for 50 or 20 minutes, you're going to need to know how to write a sitcom. So, why don't you get that training in now? You could make your own stuff now. And it may be that you don't actually make it yourself. But let's be honest, the market is massively fragmenting and people are now expecting to pay for content, especially content that they really, really like. And I know I would say this because I'm a God botherer and a Jesus fan, but it is really interesting that Angel Studios and that whole Chosen thing, I personally am not a fan of The Chosen, but the fact is there's a group of people who know that Hollywood isn't going to give them what they want, so they'll pay for it. They'll raise the money for it. And it may be that you can tap into a similar community, maybe of railway enthusiasts, maybe of battle reenactors or history fans or crochet people or flower arrangers or whatever it is. Maybe you can develop a following from a group like that and you can actually raise funds to make your own thing. Because the technical ability you need now to make that stuff is pretty easy to learn and the kit is very, very cheap. I'm shooting this on my iPhone SE. I mean, it's just a YouTube video, but the camera is really basically good enough. You can shoot Hollywood movies on an iPhone 16. So it's all about light, basically. Just spend a bit of money on lighting, and that'll be it. Also, you need a microphone. I've got one of those too. But you're talking tens, hundreds of pounds. You're not talking thousands. You could make your own half-hour comedy, and it's getting easier and easier. When that opportunity comes along, or if you happen to have the right idea that you could shoot for as a fairly low budget comedy, that's great, but you do need a bit of experience to make it work. If that's the first thing that you've written that you're making, the odds are it's not going to be great. People are going to watch it, and then there's going to be flaws in it. The audience aren't going to know what the problem is. They're just going to stop watching after 3.5 minutes. That's what happens. They're not analysing it. Nobody will give you notes. And all your friends will basically be too polite, and they'll all say it's great, even though they haven't watched it all the way through to the end. So you want to get a bit of experience of writing, handling scripts, stories, jokes, ideas, plotting, how to get it to peak and trough in roughly the right places. Not that there are any set places to do it. You can do it however you want. But that's why I think it's still worth your while writing a script now, this year, 2025, at the current moment of filming. But actually, it probably won't change into 2026, maybe even 2027. But now will be the time to get on with it. So those are my 5 reasons why actually you might as well write a sitcom script right now. So subscribe to this channel, but best of all, go below and subscribe to my newsletter. Every Friday you'll get a piece of advice on how to write, and also there's a huge backlog of stuff as well, and links to other things that I've found on the internet and things that I've made over the last 10-15 years that might be of interest to you, to help you learn how to write a half-hour comedy script. It looks super easy when you watch it. It's silky smooth. You watch 30 Rock and you think, wow, that's short, that's fast. I could write short and fast. Whew, that's such a well-written show. Really, really good. Loads of half-hour comedies make it look very, very easy. It isn't easy, but the way to make it easier is to get practicing, get started now. That's my advice. Go below, subscribe, tell other people about this. Although you probably don't want to, because you probably think you're competing with other writers. You're not. Collaborate with them. But anyway, I think I should stop now. I'll have one more sip of tea. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll speak to you next time.